been a while since I played a little bit of the Mario Kart 64.
Welcome to Mario Kart.
My name is Brian Saviano, otherwise known as Bandage on the Nose O'Brien. I wanted to play Mario Kart 64 because I'll be totally honest with you. It's because Splatoon 3 is down on the servers, and I didn't feel like playing anything else. So I figured, hey, I haven't done videos on this. I think in a long time. If not, no, I did it a while ago, but not with the face. I don't think with the face cam and all that stuff. So for context, I am using. Hold on, pause. Nope, don't pause. But I'm using my Nintendo 64 controller, as you can see here. All right, so I'm using it. It's the authentic gameplay experience here, and I gotta tell you, it feels so good. It feels so good. And the main reason okay, that doesn't feel so good. But what does feel so good is using the wireless Nintendo 64 controller. The thing that I haven't done recently is I haven't looked at my Nintendo Switch game library. Like, not really. Because I'm trying to, like, I don't know. I'm trying to, like, be more appreciative of all the things that I've done and gone through and every banana peel I've slipped on in my career. But, like, just looking back on everything that's happened with, like, me making videos and living life and everything else, right? And I'm looking at the Nintendo Switch library of games, and it's actually kind of incredible just how many games and experiences and memories that I've made through the Nintendo 60, I'm sorry, through the 64, obviously, but through the Nintendo Switch and all of the things that have happened in the past, like, 5 years that this console has been out, and it's kind of incredible just how much is on here, and it really catches me off guard when people are like, oh, this isn't the best Nintendo console of all time. I am of the firm belief, everybody, that this is the best Nintendo console of all time, if anything, because of the comprehensive backlog of games. Oh, Bowser is about to get lapped. See ya, buddy. The backlog of games, the ease of access to all those games, the not backward compatibility, but, like, you can hook. I'm currently playing this on a wireless Nintendo 64 controller in the year 2023. Like, if you told me, Yoshi, no, stay back there, no, absolutely not. Like, if you told me that was going to be a possibility, right? I'm playing with it's hooked into the charger, but I'm playing with a wireless Nintendo 64 controller in 2023 on the same console that I can take wherever I want to. And it has 2 controllers built into the system so you can play with other people. And, like, too often I'm always like, oh, what's the next thing? What's the next thing in life, right? But, like, it's such a cool concept for a console, for Nintendo games to be a part of it, and it's just so cool, man. So, like, I want to go back and play more retro games, and just for the sake of it, man. Like, before it gets all crazy with new stuff with Zelda and everything else, right? I want to be able to experience some older games, so I'm gonna play some of them. I don't know what, whatever comes across the palette, you know. Maybe it's Tetris, maybe it's Mario Kart, maybe it's me getting smacked in the face with a Monty Mole, man. I don't know, man. But whatever's on the docket is what's on the docket. So Mario Kart 64, I grew up with, okay? I think Diddy Kong, I know for a fact, Diddy Kong Racing is a better racing game than Mario Kart 64. It was the only other racing game out at the time, but Mario Kart 64, it hasn't aged quite well. What I will say, it has the best sound effects, I think, of any Mario Kart that's ever come out. Meaning, like, you know, when you hit the dice block, when you get struck by lightning, the invincibility theme, like, all this stuff. It just sounds awesome. It's so satisfying. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a nostalgia. Maybe it's just the bassiness. The bass of the music. I don't know what it is. Just whatever secret sauce Nintendo put into the development of this particular Mario Kart. It's just next level. It's just absolutely redonkulous. See you later, buddy. Lap 3 trying to shlakunga-dunga me. That's not going to happen. Yabby, you stay right back there. Including this ending theme here. and the sound effects, it's got a little something to it. I don't know, man. But I'm really enjoying Mario Kart 64. So yeah, I was literally about to play more Splatoon 3, and I'm like, I don't feel like. But the internet is down for maintenance. They're down for maintenance on Splatoon 3, which means I didn't realize this. You can't access any of the game. You can't access any of it. Like, you can't go into the shop and buy new items. You can't go into obviously the online lobbies and stuff, which I guess it makes sense. Like, you not being able to go into the shops, because the shops are only there for the online stuff anyways, right? So, like, you know, you can play the story mode. You don't need the shops to buy new gear and stuff, right? For that at all. Like, not even a little bit. But I was like, still, come on. I should be able to customize my character and do that stuff. Like, that's the main thing I want to do. Is just make sure I'm caught up on everything. But, you know, that's the internet age we live in, man. That's you being connected all the time and needing to maintain that. But, you know, it's just kind of how it is sometimes. But you just keep meowing it out, have a stable internet connection, you do all right. And even, this is the other thing about Nintendo Switch Online, that even like the Nintendo Wii U, the 3DS shops did not have. Like, they did not have the online connectivity on the Wii U versions or 3DS versions of these games. Like, I can play, like, think about it, Mario Kart 64 on a wireless Bluetooth N64 controller with other people from around the world. I don't care if the internet isn't perfect, right? The online connection, the servers or whatever. I don't care if it's perfect. At this point, I mean, I wouldn't be honestly playing with anybody anyways. It would probably just be me. But, like, the fact that I can do that, and it's a difficult thing to pull off, retrofitting a game from the mid-90s to be online compatible. I'm sure plenty of people have pulled it off by sussy means. But, you know, for Nintendo to pull it off and make sure that it works properly, works well every time, that's the key thing. With any game or system or anything like that, that's the key part of it all. So when I think about Nintendo Switch and like all the stuff that's available for it, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm not trying to sound like you know, oh, you're just trying to get on Nintendo's good side. It's obviously never any of that. Oh, I got second, you Goomba. All right, sure. I just got, as the kids say, I just got Mario Karted, but you know, it is what it is. So I've thought about it in the past couple of days, and it also factored in, this is a side tangent story, not really, but while I was at PAX East, which is a massive video game convention that is held in Boston, Massachusetts every single year, tens of thousands of people show up unless there's global circumstances impacting it. So I went this past year, and a couple of things happened. I participated in a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe tournament, which was kind of a lot of bozo tomfoolery. I'm gonna be honest with you. And then I also did a panel where I helped rank all of the Super Mario games in one sitting. So we basically came up with this massive list of the most, not the most popular, but just like the best Super Mario games of all time. And obviously Mario Kart was part of that. And without a shadow of a doubt, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the best Mario Kart game of all time. It's got all the courses, vast majority of the not all the courses, a vast majority of the courses, characters, items, the online connectivity, every aspect that makes a Mario Kart game fun, that game basically has. And Mario Kart 64, it just doesn't compare. Obviously, the really cool things are like the billboards, the music, the vibe, but it just doesn't compare at all to how it was before. A really interesting fact about this game, and specifically levels that have the billboards over here, and I don't mind sharing this because it's part of history, you know, and they obviously don't have it in here now, but there was a billboard in here. As you can see, they're scattered everywhere, and they all have all different designs and stuff. One of them, if I'm recalling correctly, this came out in the 90s, a very different time, where one of the billboards was a parody of a cigarette company, which is very interesting considering this is a children's game. So, like, why would they do that? You know, little O'Brien being subconsciously not that worked. It totally did. And that's not what Nintendo was going for, but they normally do like parodies and stuff of all different businesses and whatnot. And obviously, like, it is a very different time back then. And obviously, smoking is very bad for you. So never do it, ever, ever. That is, out of all the things that I've done in my life, release a children's book, go 24 hours plus raising money for charity, traveling all around the world to conventions and meet people. Never done that. So don't do that. Do not do that. Well, that was an easy W. Calamari Desert. Thanks, man. Meow, meow. I'll take that. Nice and smooth there. But yeah, that's actually something that was taken out, and I remember seeing it in Calamari Desert specifically. Let me make sure that I have my my facts and stuff correct here. Mario 64. Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 64 signs. I believe I got that correct, right? Yeah, I'm 100% correct. Yeah, it was for Mario. It was for Mario. And it was on the different billboards and stuff. So obviously, hey, by the way, I'm going to be playing more of this. Don't go anywhere. But I'll talk through here. Yeah, so it was actually a couple different billboards. One of them was parodying mobile gas. So apparently it was a Yoshi sign. And mobile, M-O-B-I-L, has all blue lettering except one letter, which is the O. It's red. So in Yoshi, that's the same way there. But yeah, now it's not a thing in these versions anymore. They took out all those references and stuff, obviously, because like also referencing a gas company is kind of weird because gas is very like it's important to like how life works. I guess society works. You have gas cars everywhere, right? But like, why would you put that in the game? You know, if anything, you put like an electric vehicle sort of thing. Hey, I got gold. Look at me. I'm Mario. Excellent. Star of the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie. Wonderful. I'm going to jump back right in 100cc. Doing the whole King Caboodle. I'm going to be Loogie. I'll be Loogie. Flower Cup. Let's go, baby. So, you know, why parody a gas company? You know, you could do anything else with your life. So, yeah, don't even bother with that stuff. They took all of that out, and now we have all the standard ones that have appeared all the way through. So that's a little fun fact for you. A very different time back then. But, yeah, because then, obviously, I'm sure there were some parents that are like, why are you referencing this, like, objectively awful thing? This horrifically awful thing that should not be acknowledged ever. But, like, hey, I digress. That's a thing. So, yeah. But I remember playing this. Well, how do I remember playing this? It was at my grandmother's house in front of the big TV, but I probably played it like even before then. I had a couple different living situations where I had the N64 at my grandparents or at my house or whatever. And I always played these sort of games solo, right? I grew up as an only child, so I never had anybody to really play with. And there's obviously kids in the neighborhood, but where I grew up, you don't necessarily go outside to play. If anything, you go to play basketball or it's something on your way home from school. You're not necessarily like playing video games with friends or inviting them over or anything like that. That generally doesn't happen. So I had a lot of my gameplay stuff happen solo. So Mario Kart 64 was right at, I'm sorry, Super Mario 64 is right up my alley. Can you tell I'm tired? That was right up my alley. Never ended up playing Banjo, but like Paper Mario, of course. All different games like that were more so my speed. And Mario Kart itself is fun, but it's more fun when you have a whole bunch of people with you. So I vividly remember, like, this was a game I always went to Blockbuster for. In case you don't know what Blockbuster is, instead of going to an HBO Max, a Amazon Prime Video, or a Netflix, you had to go to a physical store and take up the VHS tape. It was a tape that you had to pick up in order to put it into your VHS player at home and then watch the movie and then bring it back. And so Blockbuster was a place where you typically go on like a Friday night. You go pick out your movie for the weekend. You have your movie night, your date night, or whatever. And they also had games there. And so one of the key core memories for me was when, it actually doesn't involve Mario Kart 64 at all, but it involves Diddy Kong Racing, where they were closing down my local Blockbuster, and it was like, hey, you know, Brian, you know, they're closing down, things are on sale, you can pick up something. My mom was like, all right, you can do this. And it was either I get Superman 64 or Diddy Kong Racing. And this was before the internet. This is before you could like look up reviews and do all that stuff, right? You couldn't do any of that back then. And there's no way I was getting out of that. No shot I was getting out of that. So Toad, I guess, is just going to take this one here. And I'm going to take second, which is fine. Maybe I'm not going to take second, actually. Maybe I'll take third. Maybe I'll take fourth. Maybe I'll take second. I'm taking second. All right, never mind. I had to change my mind about 5 times, but I got it. Here we go. So I clearly chose Diddy Kong Racing, not because I just wasn't as big of a fan of Superman at the time. So I avoided myself a lot of pain by getting Diddy Kong Racing and not getting Superman 64. So that was my big pivotal moment as a little O'Brien growing up. So yeah, and Mario Kart 64 was always fun, but Diddy Kong Racing, you could have fun solo, which was obviously important to me. This one, yeah, you really get into it when you have a bunch of people playing with you. And the era where I could go outside and play with friends and stuff, or be inside, play video games with that crew of people, that was more so the Nintendo Wii era, which, you know, I look back on fondly, but they're also kind of bullies too. So, you know, it wasn't all sunshine and roses and all that. I always had a knack for like doing videos and all that. And that was not something that everybody shared, of course. So I had to find my own way and sometimes play these kind of games solo, which is okay. But all the stuff like, you know, online play was still developing. They didn't have online connectivity, not like this. Definitely not like this in any way, shape, and form. Or like watching other people play video games or stuff like that. Like nothing even remotely close to how it was back then. So I didn't find as many people that played games and did videos on them like I did, you know? So it was all about trying to figure out who I am, where I want to go, and like, as I say, meowing it out, you know? So yeah, the main games, there's no way I'm getting out of that one. There's not a chance. So why don't I just do this? Jump across here real quick. Yeah, never mind. I tried to be slick, and it didn't work. And instead, I'm going to get passed by Princess Peach. So one of the items that has not carried over from this Mario Kart to other ones is not the banana, obviously, but the fake item block. That's one of the ones that they just never bother with anymore, pretty much. I tried to be slick over here. It's not going to work, and Lakitu is going to grab me. Sweet. Something that does happen as well, if you end up being on the ground, like revving your engine as Lakitu puts you back on the track, you will spin out, and you'll actually not be able to progress any more forward. So that's kind of interesting. It's a bit of a interesting development how that changes over the years. But the biggest thing that you're probably noticing for Mario Kart 64 is all the characters are actually sprites. They are not 3D models by comparison of Diddy Kong 64, of course, or Diddy Kong Racing, I should say, that has full 3D models for each of the characters. So technically, you know, when you're playing like Super Mario World and it's like all pixelated and stuff, that's what this is right here. So the environments, like the track and stuff, those are in 3D, but that's actually a 2D sprite made to look 3D, and it moves a particular way depending on how you move the camera. So it's a bit interesting how they pulled off all these effects for Mario Kart 64, because the Nintendo 64 was only as powerful as it was back then. It wasn't like a super powerful console, not like the Nintendo Switch is right now. So they had to find interesting ways to make the game look good while being able to have everything run smoothly and not cut any corners. And so that's one of the ways. So Diddy Kong Racing, I believe, came out at a later time in the N64's life cycle. I don't know what happened here, dude. It's a whole cluster, a whole cookie cluster happening over here. All right. But when a game is developed later in the life cycle of the console, you find that you have more wiggle room to work with. Like, as people get a better understanding of the hardware and how to develop games for it, it ends up happening a lot more quickly. So that's why Diddy Kong Racing probably looks a lot better than Mario Kart 64, is because it came out later in the console's life. They better understood it, where Mario Kart 64, at least I believe, came out earlier. So, and it was the Nintendo internally, right? So Nintendo themselves are like, I think we know what we're doing. But then a company like Rare, who did make Diddy Kong Racing, and they made Banjo-Kazooie and all that, managed to make a much cooler, better looking game. So yeah, a little bit of fun fact there for you. But yeah, and like random stuff like this happens. Like Bowser was the one who tripped up on the banana, not me, you know. But hey, man, whatever, man, meow meow. So that's some of the craziness that makes Mario Kart oh so fun, and obviously why it's a very popular thing, especially way back then, you know. So this is really where Mario Kart started taking off. Like a lot of people are really fond of the what's it called? Like the Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I think that one's actually awful. I think that one, all the ones that happen on, wow, okay, thanks, sure. All the ones that happen on the Game Boy Advance, those ones I really don't like because everything's flat. The whole ground looks flat. You don't have a really good depth perception on really anything at all. So I'm not a fan of those ones. I never really played them. Never really cared to play them. And just not my cup of tea. So I'd rather not bother with any of those. Maybe I'll play them eventually for the sake of showing you what they were like. But yeah, not necessarily for me, you know. So there, I mean, I got second place on this one, so whatever, you know. 18, so I definitely have to get first place on the next one. Otherwise, I am gonzo on Mario Raceway. Yeah, so as I'm looking at the screenshots actually right here, they did parody those unsavory companies, and they had to switch some stuff up. So like the Yoshi, I think one of these might be new or newer. I'm not quite sure which one. One of them is newer. Maybe Koopa Air? I don't remember which one would have been the new one or the old one, so I have no clue at all. What's interesting about, I don't think it's this course, but there's a course eventually coming up where you get hit by rocks. That's on the Donkey Kong. The Donkey Kong Jungle Parkway track. That actually happens on there. But Mario, nope, there we go, nice. Beautiful. And this is a tight race, man. I'm clearly not as pro gamer as I thought I was, man. There's a thing that's happening right now called rubber banding that happens a lot in these older Mario Kart games. And most recently, I noticed it happen in Crash Team Racing Reloaded, whatever it's called, the newer Crash Racing game. Rubber banding happened a ton in that game. In case you don't know, rubber banding is essentially like if you picture the race like a rubber band, right? So like let's say you pull forward ahead by a bunch, but then eventually the other players will magically get like right ahead of you, like Wario did right there. So like clearly I used a whole bunch of mushrooms and stuff, right, to get myself to be a little bit further ahead. But for whatever reason, like Peach and everyone else just magically managed to get ahead of me. So no matter how far I get ahead, they just magically pop right back until something like that happens, and now I can magically get ahead like that. So hey, it happens. It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. But yeah, rubber banding happens quite a lot. What I like about this game too, Toad has been in the lead the vast majority of the time, but now Toad is in 7th. So Toad definitely didn't make it, and I managed to get first place there. So unlike in the newer games where you'll typically get the top 3 or 4 every single time, in this game, anybody can end up anywhere, which is what I really like. So like when you race one race in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, you know for a fact who's going to end up winning if you don't win because they place first, second, or third, right? But here you have no idea. So it is me in first place, obviously, Toddy in second, and we got King Koopa chilling. That looks like 4th place Peach back there. You can't really see her because my giant face is blocking it. But you can see this is the same Peach's Castle, not from the Lego set, but from Super Mario 64, so that's pretty snazzy. And then this not cheap thing is gonna right out. Give me that gold, baby, with those stars shining down for me and all the things that you see. And it was all gold, gold, Gold. Flower Cup 100cc. I'm the Gold Star Cup. Wonderful. I'm going to play the other two in the next episode. Bye.